Dr. Mack, part of your evaluation would be an intent to investigate the person that you're being asked to evaluate for purposes of an opinion regarding criminal responsibility or lack thereof for the district attorney's office, correct?
What do you mean by investigate?
You don't know what investigate means? You want me to explain that to you?
You might.
You're a psychiatrist that's employed by the district attorney, right?
Retained by, yes.
Oh, okay, so we're going to talk semantics. Isn't employed by, retained by, mean that you get money from it, right?
I'm paid for my time, yes.
Exactly. And normally I don't even go there. Every one of us are getting paid for our time. Jurors not so much, but nevertheless, you get paid for your time, right?
Correct.
I get paid for my time. The judge, Chrissy, Don, everybody gets paid for their time, right?
I imagine, yes.
So when you are retained by the district attorney's office, you are to evaluate an individual, right?
Yes.
And the individual in this case is Lindsay Clancy, correct?
Yes.
And you recognize her, do you not?
I do.
And you actually had a chance to meet with her and do your evaluation, right?
Yes.
And part of your evaluation, you had to investigate into who she was. For example, her education, what she did for work, friends, family, right?
I asked her about her life, and I reviewed records to learn about her life, yes.
Okay. So you're in a mental institution investigating or questioning a woman who's on medication, who is there because she's suicidal and under 101 24/7 observation. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And you get the history from her?
Yes.
So did you talk to any collateral contacts?
No.
So how is it that you can tell this jury what her life story is? Did you get it from her?
I got it from her
What
to
did
the
she
extent
tell
that,
you about her
well, I'm
education?
sorry,
What did she tell you
what, can you
about
say
her?
your,
Never mind looking at the judge. What did she tell you about the education?
Wait, listen. You look over there and listen to the question and answer the question.
Well,
Can you say the question,
let him
please?
answer the question.
What did she tell you about? I'm sorry.
Ask the question,
What did she
answer
tell
the
you?
question, and we'll go from there.
What did she tell you about her education?
she described her education in terms of being a hard worker through high school and college, and then going to nursing school.
Okay, where'd she go to nursing school?
I think the nursing school was through Partners Healthcare, I think at the MGH.
And do you recall what the nature of the nursing was?
Well, she had always wanted to be a labor and delivery nurse, and she was able to achieve that.
So she worked as a labor and delivery nurse
That's my understanding, yes.
for a period of time?
For several years, yes.
9 years, 7 years?
I'm not sure exactly.
Did you talk to any of the nurses that she worked with? I mean, was she respected? Was she a hard worker? Was she somebody that was ducking out early, didn't want to work?
I didn't talk to any of her colleagues. I'm aware that she had been there for some time, and I did not hear about any aspects in which her work was deleterious.
Who would you hear from, them?
Well, one might have heard it from the notes from her spouse. It might have heard it from the defendant herself.
Let's talk about one might have heard it. Is the one you're testifying?
Yes.
Did you hear about it through the notes of the spouse?
No, I didn't hear about any way in which her work
Okay, so why
wasn't.
are you telling me that? Why are you saying one might have heard about it through the notes of the spouse?
Well, I think your question was, how would one learn about any deleterious acts or components of the person's work? So I didn't hear about any way in which she wasn't working hard and retained as a nurse at an excellent institution.
So basically, you don't know, is what you're telling me. You don't know what her reputation for work ethic was. You don't know what her hours were. You don't know what her reputation in her work community was. You just don't know. Isn't that right?
Combined with the records and also the report from Dr. Resnick, who described her own view of herself as being a hard worker, I don't know further than that.
So in addition to being a labor and delivery nurse at Mass General Hospital for a number of years, you knew that she obviously was married, right?
Yes.
And her husband was Patrick, right?
Yes.
You know how many years she was married, right?
I do.
How many?
I don't know it offhand, but I believe I understand or knew the date when they were married, which may have been 2013.
So the fact that she was married, you know, that did she want to have kids or did she find them to be a burden?
She very much wanted to have children.
And
She described that that was her lifelong interest.
okay. Had one child, Cora, right?
I can't hear you.
The first child was Cora, right?
Yes.
Did she have any delivery issues with Cora?
Not that I recall.
How about the second child? What was the second child's name?
Dawson.
And how old was Dawson at the time of the incident, as we say?
I think he was around 4.
And did she have any issues with his delivery?
Do you mean the delivery or in the postpartum period?
I mean the delivery.
If I recall, I think she had a tear, which is called an episiotomy, and that was something she was unhappy about.
Sure. Did she have medication prescribed to her after Dawson?
Do you mean psychiatric medication?
Sure.
At some point, I think she was prescribed an antidepressant medication in that period.
What was it?
I think it was sertraline.
And do you know whether she took it?
She has told us that she did not.
And when she went home after having the baby, Dawson, she then came home to a little daughter, obviously Cora, had Dawson as an infant, correct?
Yes.
And was she living in a town, or where was she living when she had these two kids?
I think she was living in the same house in Duxbury.
She wasn't living in Weymouth, or?
She may have been. I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's all right. So at some point she moves to Duxbury, she's with her husband, and she goes back to work, does she?
Yes.
You didn't make any, in your investigation, you didn't come across any information that she didn't want to go back to work because she was lazy or just didn't want to work, right?
No, I think she always wanted to work.
Did she have anxiety about going back to work after Callan, the third child?
After Callum?
Yeah, Callan. It's Callan, C-A-L-L-E.
Yes. Yes. She wanted to go back. As August and September arrived, she was hopeful to go back to work, but she became anxious about working. There were other factors, too. She became anxious.
No other factors yet. We'll get to the other factors. Why was she anxious about going back to work?
I was about to say,
Go ahead.
She was anxious about the well-being and nurturance of her children as she went back to work. One being that the baby was not taking a bottle. Another, that in that span between the point that her husband went back to work and she was expected to go back to work, it was overwhelming to have 3 young children that she was caring for all by herself. As time went on, she was ambivalent about hiring somebody to help, hiring a nanny, and that was another area of anxiety. So there were several areas of anxiety, and as we've discussed earlier today, anxiety was something that she had throughout her life.
I'm going to pull you in, okay? This is a cross-examination, sir. I gave you
All
a little
right,
room.
just ask the next question.
So when you say that she had anxiety, and the anxiety was about having her youngest child, Callan, correct?
Yes.
She was anxious about going back to work, correct?
Yes.
But you also, as you were waxing eloquently, indicated that she was having anxiety about having a nanny.
Yes.
What was she anxious about with the nanny?
In my understanding,
No, what is your understanding? Tell the jury what you investigated about her anxiety with the nanny.
so through my evaluation, what I understood was that there was ambivalence about having a nanny, that is to say, having somebody who helped. There was some degree of wanting to be able to handle the children on her own. The other part of it is some ambivalence about other people other than herself or perhaps her mother caring for the children. Because I know that my evaluation discerned that she felt very positively about her ability to take care of her children, but also some ambivalence about other people taking care of the children.
What time frame are we talking about? Summertime, fall?
The end of summer, late August, early September.
Isn't it true that in the summer, she and Patrick and the kids felt that they were on top of the world, having a great summer, right?
Well, that's what she said. That's her quote.
Okay. And then come the fall, towards the end of September, that's when she started to have symptoms of anxiety, right?
Yes.
Up to this point in your investigation, you have a young woman who was a nurse for a number of years, we assume from your investigation, a good reputation as a hard worker, right?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, one of the things that you had mentioned is that she was, how about exercise? Did she like to do exercise?
Yes, in the past, exercise was her...
Yes, right? Yes?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, I can repeat the question. I ask you, sir.
I'm objecting because he's interrupting the witness and not letting him answer
The
the question.
question called for a yes or no answer. All right? And so, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can you state the question, please?
Sure. You mentioned in direct examination for the DA that she was like to do exercise, correct?
Yes.
And would you consider a person who is an exercise aficionado, especially a woman who, for example, runs, let's say, a 5K or a 5-mile road race within about a couple of weeks after having a baby? Is that hyper-exercise? Is that hypomanic? Okay.
In of itself, it's not hypomanic, no.
How about if there's a string of exercise that is a little bit out of the norm, coupled with decluttering, removing personal property from the home, cleaning out the home, things of that nature? Would that be hypomanic in your opinion?
Not in of itself, but are you talking, when you were asking about exercise, were you talking about in the period 2022 or 2020?
2022.
Okay.
After Callan. Okay? And I asked you about running the road race after Callan. Okay? You with me?
Yes, I am.
So would you suggest, sir, that that is something that one would at least anticipate, consider, or investigate as being this manic or hypomanic that you're talking about?
No.
So, by the way, one of the questions that you were asked, sir, is that when you got involved with investigating this case, do you recall that from the DA?
So
Do you recall that from the DA?
the term investigate, if it's okay, I'll use the term evaluate.
When you got appointed or retained by the DA.
Right. So, and your question is?
My question is, when were you retained by the district attorney, the prosecutors?
It was sometime in early 2025.
Early 2025. So like what, February, January?
I think the reach out had occurred in maybe December of 2024, and I think that the retention was early in 2025.
And what's a reach out?
Well, the communication, the reaching out
From
the district attorney's office.
Okay. And then when you were asked that question, you indicated that you had to wait for a motion to be filed or something with the court. Do you recall answering that question?
No.
Well, if I suggest to you, sir, it was in December of 2024 that a notice of lack of criminal responsibility was filed. Does that seem to fit with the reach out?
Objection. Can we approach?
Sure. All right, counsel.
Thank you, Judge. So, your understanding of the procedure is that a notice has to be given to the court that a person, like Lindsay, is raising the issue of criminal responsibility, correct?
I imagine that's the case, but I don't know the procedure here in Massachusetts in that regard.
Okay, you don't know the procedure?
The procedure for making notice?
Right.
No, I do not.
If I tell you, sir, that the notice is filed in December of 24, when was it that you had the reach out?
The first communication about the case was in, as I said a few minutes ago, in late 2024.
And do you recall the circumstances of that communication? DA call you, a letter, what?
No, I was contacted through a retention firm called Park Dietz and Associates.
Dietz?
Mm-hmm.
Park, he's a psychiatrist, isn't he?
It sounds like you know him.
I do know him. And actually, Park Dietz is a rather famous psychiatrist, is he not?
Yes.
He's testified in many cases, correct?
Yes, but
No, overruled.
I said Park Dietz and Associates. I didn't say Park Dietz himself.
Okay, well, you know Park Dietz, I imagine, right?
I do.
Yeah. And you know that he's a guy that testified in a case and cited a Law and Order episode that didn't exist at the time he gave his opinion.
Sustained.
So is he still active?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is he a psychiatrist now?
Yes, he's a psychiatrist.
And on your letterhead, it says Park Dietz, D-I-E-T-Z, and Associates, forensic experts, right?
I can't see what you're looking at, but that's what the letterhead basically says.
Avram Mack, right?
I am.
Okay, and this is your curriculum vitae, right?
Yes.
And in big letters up above, it says Park Dietz and Associates, right?
Yes.
Now, how does that work? You get a call from this retention group, Park Dietz, and then you get assigned a case? When
an attorney or a district attorney's office contacts them, they might think that it might be a case that I might want to be retained on.
Okay. Do they, to your knowledge, try to get someone that's familiar with that particular topic, or just anybody that has a random psychiatry degree?
Well, there are only certain people that they think of or consider, people that Dr. Dietz has thought of in terms of having a robust career and
You have a
background.
robust career?
I've been active as a teacher and as a clinician over about 20 years, and I've been a full professor at Penn and Jefferson and Georgetown.
So that's in your curriculum vitae, correct?
The 3 professor level appointments?
All of your stuff, the things you wrote, things that you're interested in, your fellowships, professorships, all that, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's introduced into evidence by the DA, right?
Yes.
So the jury's going to have it to look at, right?
Okay. I didn't know that.
Let's just take a look at it now. Is it your understanding that when you are, and I mean you individually, not Park Dietz Associates, requested to look at and investigate into the lack of criminal responsibility of a individual charged with a crime, that you got to try to be independent?
Being independent is the expectation.
The answer yes, you try to be independent?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is it appropriate for you to evaluate an individual with another Park Dietz associate guy?
You're referring to Dr. Halbern?
I am referring to Dr. Halbert. He's another one of the DA's witnesses in this case, right?
Correct.
And you know Halbert, right?
I had not met him until we jointly went to do the evaluation this April.
Jointly went to do the evaluation.
Yes.
What did you do? Both ride in the same car over to Tewksbury to talk to her?
No.
Did you have separate cars?
We did.
And then you met up beforehand and you went in to meet with Lindsay?
Yes. I
Both
think
of you
that
together? Both of you together?
Yes.
So you were under the umbrella of Park, Dietz and Associates. Heilbrunn, who's going to be testifying Monday for the government, works under the umbrella of Park, Dietz and Associates, and the both of you interviewed her at the same time, is what you're telling this jury?
Yes.
In your opinion, is that appropriate, sir?
Yes.
Did you talk to Kirk about your opinion?
We have talked about each other's opinion. We have different opinions as far as I understand it.
Did you talk to him about his report?
No,
No?
I have not talked to him about his report.
Have you talked to him about testifying here today?
Not in terms of content.
What does that
No.
mean?
The other day he called me and said, what day are you going up to Boston?
Okay.
And
Shipping up to Boston. Did you tell him?
No, I wasn't sure what day I was going up to Boston.
Okay. Did you review his report?
I have reviewed his report.
All right. And has he reviewed your report?
I don't know. I assume so, but I don't know.
Now, looking at your CV, you indicate that you're educated at Cornell, you got your medical degree, you had some fellowships. Do you have any particular interest in your practice, sir?
Yes.
And you have licensure in Delaware, right?
Yes.
Pennsylvania?
Yes.
District of Columbia?
Not at the moment.
It says 2005 to the present, but not anymore.
Well, I'm not sure what date that CV is, but I allowed my DC license to
Okay.
not be renewed.
Maryland?
Same, I let it not be renewed.
New York?
I actually renewed that recently.
Massachusetts?
No, I haven't had that since I left here.
South Carolina?
I haven't renewed that in many years.
Connecticut?
Same,
Virginia?
same.
So what does that mean, that you have licensure? Does that mean you can be a psychiatrist in these states as long as it's active, or what does that mean?
Licensure means that one can act as a physician when your licensure is in effect, yes.
Okay. And as far as professional and scientific societies, you belong to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, right?
Yes.
You belong to the American Academy of Juvenile and Family Court Judges, is that correct?
I don't belong to that group at the moment.
Well, did you? Is that on your resume?
Yes, there was a moment when I was the representative from the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry and the American Psychiatric Association and also the American Academy of Psychiatry and Law, of all three, to the National Council of Juvenile and Family Court Judges. So at that point, I was a member of the National Council.
So I asked you about your interests or focus as a doctor. Would you agree, sir, that one of the things you put down is that you were involved in ad hoc reviewerships in the Journal of American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, right?
It does say that, yes.
And then American Journal of Addictions,
Yes,
Pediatric Quality and Safety.
yes.
That's dealing with little kids, right? Pediatrics.
Well, at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, we see patients up to 24.
Okay.
At Nemours, I believe up to 21.
So you also express interest in child psychiatry. This comes under academic responsibilities. Child psychiatry, right?
Yes,
You have been involved in the doctoring course for first-year medical students, right?
yes,
Supervision of adult psychiatry residents, right?
yes,
Clinical evaluation, Department of Psychiatry, dealing with children and adolescents, right?
I'm not sure that last one that you read, but
Number 8 on
no, but what does it say in its entirety?
ongoing clinical education of PGY3 residents, Department of Psychiatry, Georgetown University Hospital, Institute for Children and Adolescents.
Do you mean Regional Institute for Children and Adolescents?
Resume, I don't know what it means.
I'm just wanting to make sure I'm responding to your question.
Do you have it with you? I mean, you can look
The
at it.
Regional Institute for Children and Adolescents was a residential center in outside the Beltway where I served for 3 years.
Okay, the focus nevertheless is on children and adolescents, right?
Not at that time. What you mean when I was at Georgetown?
I'm just looking at your resume.
Okay.
How about lecture of patient safety and quality improvement in child and adolescent mental health? That something that you were involved with as a lecturer, sir?
Yes, about
Okay.
patient safety and quality, yes.
Answer is yes.
Yes.
Just make it quick. You were a lecturer on a morass returns, adolescent cannabis, doubles lettuce, and other hallucinogen use, dealing with what, pediatrics, kids?
Yes.
Okay. You also did, under lectures by invitation, that you've been involved with lecturing on wither psychosis in adolescents, right?
That was the title of a paper I gave, yes.
So the answer is yes, right?
The answer is I gave that paper, yes.
Okay. Adolescents accused of murder or manslaughter, right?
Yes.
Okay. Wither psychosis, adolescent killers, a couple of years later, again, maybe an update, right?
Right.
Divorce for the clinician, right?
Right.
Divorce legal process and medical, social, and psychiatric sequelae, right?
Right.
Killer adolescents, drugs, school, and the courts, right?
Right.
Jumping ahead, 2014, for example, you had the morass returns, adolescent cannabis and other hallucinogens, right?
I imagine, yes, I don't know exactly which one you're looking at, but that's the title of a lecture that I was giving.
Childhood development and psychopathology, right? Is an interest, right?
It is an interest, yes.
Childhood development, again, and psychopathology, lecture to the United States Department of Justice, right?
Yes.
Lecturing to the United States Department of Justice, Department of Immigration, right?
Yes.
Cognitive bias think tank is another one of the lectures that you gave. Is that correct?
Well, it was a committee or a task force that I co-led about the prospect of diagnostic error when people have cognitive biases.
And what's a cognitive bias? Just curious.
So when you think about diagnoses, there's always a possibility that an individual is sort of guided to one diagnosis or another based on various forms of preconceptions or biases. So a major part of this concept of patient safety is to prevent misdiagnosis. And there are a lot of techniques that are used in medicine and in this case in pediatric hospitals and also in psychiatry to try to make sure that the users or the diagnosticians' biases don't creep into making the wrong diagnosis.
Research publications, sir, dealing with neuropsychiatric systemic lupus, erythematosus, age, and the neurodevelopment model. That's one of your research publications, right?
Yes.
Dealing with psychiatric classification from the ancients to DSM-4, psychiatric clinics of North America, right?
Yes.
Alcohol abuse is another research that you did.
I've written or edited several textbooks on substance use disorders. Yes.
Okay. So in addition to child and adolescent aspects of psychiatry, you're also interested in focusing in on alcohol abuse, substance-related disorders, alcohol abuse disorders, addictive disorders, treatment of addictive disorders, right?
Those are some of the areas of interest, yes.
Novel risk factors for central line-associated bloodstream infections in critically ill children, right?
Yes.
And it goes on and on with a lot of your focuses on children, minors, probate court, correct?
I don't know about probate court, but...
Well, you've had occasion to do evaluations for probate court, haven't you?
You'd have to remind me, there was a period when I was the physician leader of the state of Maryland's Office of Forensic Services.
Right.
So
that's what you said on direct, so that's why I'm asking it. But how about the new tools in the toolbox? Proactive prevention of CLABS, 1, in patients with behavioral health and concerns. What does that mean?
Well, CLABSI, central line associated bloodstream infections are something that is a major concern of all hospitals around the country, and preventing them from happening is not only the work of cleaning the apparatus that touches patients, but also we learned that when patients have psychiatric problems, they actually are at a greater risk of developing a central line associated bloodstream infection, which is a significant complication of being in the hospital. So I started that work when I was at Georgetown, when I was an adult, mainly focused on adults, and carried it on when I was at Children's Hospital Philadelphia and at Nemours in terms of the pediatric risks for CLABSI.
Okay. How about clinical manual of adolescent substance abuse disorder? That's another one of your chapters, right? Book.
I don't think I wrote a book about adolescent substance use.
Number 29, Mack A.H. Clinical Manual of Adolescent Substance Abuse Treatment, Journal of Psychiatric Practice. Nothing
Yeah,
wrong with it.
that was a chapter, not a book. But yes.
Okay, but nevertheless, your focus and your interest is on adolescents that like to smoke weed and drink, right?
No.
Okay. Would you agree, sir, that you were interested in the American Psychiatric Press textbook you wrote for substance abuse treatment, right?
Yes.
All right. And think like a psychiatrist, but always a doctor, be a doctor, web drugstore, perils, drugs, alcohol, bloodstream infections in Children's Hospital, focusing on that, right? Where in here does it say that you ever came within breathing distance of a pregnant woman and your practice and your interest in your writings?
So I remember being at the Brigham as a resident and
How long ago was
going
that?
to, how long ago was that?
Yeah, give us a year.
Well, you asked me when. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's
starting.
when?
That was the memory I have for that particular situation was 2001.
2001, so 25 years ago.
Right.
What
And
did
so
you do?
since then, I went to the Medical University of South Carolina, and then I went to Georgetown, and all that period up until 2015, I was doing general psychiatry work with areas of focus in peds or in addictions, but also with forensics as an area. I see myself as somebody who's a generalist who happens to have a couple of areas of focus. In 2015, I did move from that generalist model to, when I left Georgetown, I moved to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and the University of Pennsylvania. And in those years, since then, I've been working in pediatric hospitals, where at CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, the age is up to 24, and at Nemours, it's up to 21. So that is the overall area of adult and child psychiatry that I've been working in. Throughout the years at Georgetown,
Okay,
I would like to answer because I have more to tell you.
Let him finish the answer. Go ahead.
So at Georgetown, certainly that was all adult, and Georgetown has its own labor and delivery unit. And so that was plenty of engagement with women who were pregnant or who had just given birth. And then at both Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and at Nemours, there are these special units that have been under designed for the last several years of high risk. Actually at CHOP, one of my first roles there was to develop the psychiatry services coverage of the high-risk maternity unit there called the Special Delivery Unit. And I was the co-leader and then the leader of the consultation service at CHOP. And so I led the group of adult and child psychiatrists to tend to the psychiatric needs of that unit. Recently at Nemours, the same unit was built. And so, yes, in these pediatric hospitals, there actually are units of women who are about to have birth, who have just had birth.
Well, I'm sure in these pediatric hospitals, there are women about to have birth and have had birth, and I'm sure that there are competent doctors that treat them, correct?
I would agree with you.
How about you? How many women with postpartum psychosis have you treated?
Roughly 10 would be my estimate.
Over what period of time?
Over the period since 2001.
And when you would treat these women, would you be involved in, for example, testing them for their mental health?
Well, usually the teaching has been that what was called postpartum psychosis is actually a form of bipolar disorder. So what is important is to say, let's do a full evaluation of the individual's symptoms and signs, and then treat them and engage in treatment. And usually that's going to be a form of bipolar disorder treatment. That's the teaching. That is the general perspective.
So with your wealth of knowledge on women that are pregnant and suffering from postpartum psychosis, do you know whether or not Lindsay was ever diagnosed with postpartum depression?
I believe that the various notes from the clinicians over the year of 2022 to 2023 utilized the term unspecified mood disorder.
Right. How about postpartum depression?
I don't think that appellation was used.
Okay. So was she ever administered EPDS?
You mean the Edinburgh?
Yeah. Was she ever administered that?
I don't know if she was or wasn't. I don't remember.
Isn't that something you're in here testifying about this case? Wouldn't that be important to know that she was almost off the chart on the Edinburgh scale for postnatal depression?
Well, I have said that she had depression.
Well, postnatal depression for a woman who's pregnant or had a baby recently is a heck of a lot different than some guy who's just depressed about his job, right?
I don't understand your question.
Well, do you know what her readings were on the Edinburgh test?
Not to my memory at the moment, no.
Why not? You read the medical records, didn't you?
I mean, if you would like to show me, I'd be
I
happy
don't want to show you
review it.
anything. I'm asking you as a testifying witness for this jury, did you look at her medical records?
I did.
And the medical records pertain to her being a person that just had a baby, right?
I'm not sure that which records you're talking about, but can I finish? Can I finish? Can I?
I'm not going to finish. 2022, obviously, because we already talked about the summer, she was fine. When did she see Tufts?
She started to see Dr. Tufts in 2022.
When?
I believe it was, well, she went to Dr. Tufts in September, and it was in October that she started taking the medication that Dr. Tufts had prescribed.
Okay, and that was for what?
You mean which medication, or what was the purpose?
Medication.
Sertraline.
And otherwise known as?
Zoloft.
And she took it after a while, is that correct? Is that what you said?
A few weeks, yes.
And the reason she didn't take it was what?
Time, as my evaluation.
Hold on a second, Doc. Sorry. All right, let's go ahead. You want him to re-ask that question?
I'm okay.
Okay.
So, over time, Ms. Clancy has avoided taking medications.
She's what?
Avoided taking medications.
Says who?
The description she gave me.
She told you that?
My awareness from my evaluation is that she resists taking medications, and for example,
No. Tell me what you mean by she resists taking medications.
there are individuals in this world who do not want to take medications, and I think she described that she is one of them.
So you know that she saw Dr. Tufts because she apparently was anxious, right?
Yes.
Prior to that, other than having anxiety about public speaking as a nurse in nursing school, and after she had one of her children, she didn't have any psychiatric history of medications, right?
She had not taken medications, but she had had a lifelong degree of anxiety. It hadn't been at the level of disorder, but she had
Lifelong?
Yes.
Okay, how about in grammar school, high school, college? Did she have difficulty that she was anxious?
So what I was saying is that anxiety can drive people, but she had a lot of anxiety, and she was hardworking, and the anxiety helped her to be hardworking. But when it comes to medications,
Hold on. Mr. Reddington, go ahead. Doctor, finish the question.
but when it comes to medications, she described that she didn't want to take medications. And an example was the time that after the birth of her second child, that sertraline had been prescribed, but she chose to get through her anxiety and depression by exercising. And that is something that people do. But it also highlights that in this case, she didn't want to be taking medications. And I think that we also understand that in the fall of 2022.
All right. At this point, I'm going to stop. Next question.
My question was, You said that she had a lifelong resistance to taking medication. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Then I asked you, grammar school, high school, college, did she have any records, any witnesses, any documents that she had a resistance to taking medication?
Only her description to me.
She didn't tell you that she was resistant to medication in grammar school and high school and college? What are you, making this up?
Objection.
Yeah, sustain. Next
She
question.
didn't tell you that.
I understand her to have told me that generally she did not want to be taking medications. She didn't necessarily specify in grammar school, but that is her basic.
College.
Yes, I think that her description was as a adolescent and as a young adult, she was not interested in taking medications.
You really have that written down somewhere?
I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I believe that that's what I understand it to
You
be.
believe that's what it is, you don't know whether you have it written down somewhere, right?
Can I refer to my
Read the
report?
whole report, I don't care. Because it's not there.
Well, on page 8, what I had written was, Ms. Clancy's reluctance to take medication generally was accompanied by her concern for medications entering her breast milk. So the general...
Breast milk, she's pregnant. Come on. That's the only time that she indicates that she did not want to take, except for benzos, medication because she was breastfeeding, right?
I don't agree. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but my understanding is that she described that she generally did not want to take medication,
All right.
benzodiazepines included.
Let's not guess, all right? Let's look at Dr. Mack's report, okay? Medication history. During the period before January 24 or 23, she was taking several medications, and that would be Tufts and Gelada and all the rest of them, right?
Okay.
Is that right?
I didn't exactly hear your question. I'm sorry. Can you repeat it?
You said in your report, defendant was taking several medications that had been prescribed for her, right?
In the fall and December of 2022, yes.
So it's real easy. It's Tufts and Gelada that were prescribing these meds, right?
They were among the prescribers, yes.
All right. And her reluctance to take medication was accompanied by her concern for medications entering her what?
I believe it says breast milk.
Breast milk. Okay. So other than her concerns as a mother about her breast milk and having these drugs get into an infant's body, when else did she tell you that she was resistant, as you just told this jury, to taking medication? Like she's somebody who doesn't want to take the medication, doesn't care to take the medication. Where is it?
Overall.
Well, I didn't say that she didn't care.
Okay, how about she was resistant?
My recollection, and I'm happy to, if you would like me to spend time finding it,
Prove
I'd
you're
be
wrong,
happy
I know.
to. What?
Prove you wrong. It's not in your report, though, is it?
Okay.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.